probably my best strike of the day. What do you think the most important thing in golf is? Is it having a good swing? Is it hitting it far? I would argue the most important thing in golf is controlling a couple things. One is where I'm hitting the ground, and then two, where I'm hitting the ball on the club face. Most of the time when we hit a bad shot, we're doing something poorly in one of those two categories. I'm either hitting it off center or I'm hitting the ground too early, too late. Well, today we're gonna talk about how to make sure you hit the ball in the center of the face with regard to the heel and the toe strike. So on the ground, I have set up a drill that I like to do, and this is called highway lanes. And so I have 3 lines on the ground, and this middle line is where I'm really going to be intending on hitting the ground. So as I'm putting a ball on the ground, I'm putting it right on top of that line, and I have these other lines just to kind of show me a reference for if I'm hitting it a little bit in the heel or a little bit in the toe. And so as I'm hitting these, what we're gonna see is kind of where I am relative to where I should be. And just to make this a little bit more clear, I'm gonna put this alignment stick right on my line just so you can see that a little bit better. Okay, I'm gonna hit another one and we're gonna see kind of where I'm hitting it. I generally miss in the toe because of a couple things we'll go over here in a second. I think that was a little bit in the heel. Yeah, my line is just a little bit that way. I was trying not to toe it because I just said I always toe it. So let's start with why people generally toe it. At the end of the day, the reason that you toe it is because the club is landing too close over here. Now, what are the most common reasons someone does that? Number one reason is some point in their swing, their head drifts away from the golf ball. As my head drifts away from the golf ball, I'm likely going to have too much space and I'm going to toe it. That doesn't matter if it's happening on the backswing as I drift that way or on the downswing I start to go that way. So that's number one. Number two is they do some type of T-Rex shortening of the arms. You guys know what a T-Rex looks like, right? They have the short arms. On the downswing, as they come down, their arms start to shorten like this. The lead arm maybe even bend a little bit. Any motion like that is going to be moving the club a little bit more towards me. Okay, so if I was someone that struggles with the toe, what I would want to do is I would want to set up to this line and I would want to do practice swings where I'm focusing on, you guessed it, trying to hit the outside lane. If I can hit the ground over there, most likely I'm having to stay flexed and I won't run into the toe. Okay, so let's hit one. I'm going to really focus on trying to land the club over here. And the reason that I toe it is because my head generally backs out of the shot. So this is actually a really, really good drill for me to focus on my contact. Ooh, I hit that one good. That was right in the center. I felt like I was reaching on this side, and for some reason, because of my perception, I actually hit it right in the center. Okay, so let's do another one, but now let's talk about heel strikes. Why do people heel the ball? Well, if we think about all the things I just said, so backing out of it, under reaching my arms or shortening my arms, I kind of think about it in baseball terms, like if I'm hitting an inside pitch, a lot of times I'll shorten my arms. Well, most of the time people are doing that because they're doing the opposite. So number one, at some point in the swing, their head goes down. So if I go back and I have some tip towards the ground, think about all that space I just lost. The only way I would hit that in the center is if I did some type of shortening of my arms here. I'm not saying just because you heel it, you need to make sure you stay tall. If you heel it and you notice that you dive, you may want to consider maintaining your height. So that's number one. And then number two would be the arm extension. As people swing, their arms get out like that. And so they need to be focusing on doing things to feel shorter with the arms. And then here, I didn't talk about early extension, but early extension actually leads to toe and heel. It really just depends. Early extension is where your tail moves towards the golf ball. And as you do that, you're generally growing in height and the club will move this way. You can see right there, I am moving away from the golf ball with my club. Now, some people early extend and they reach and they actually like thin heel it. So if you're someone who early extends, you might get a little bit of both. But I would more focus on maintaining my head and my arms. You can early extend and still not hit in the heel. Now, here's my number one drill for you guys that heel it, is I'm actually gonna do a swing and I'm gonna miss the ball and land the club in this lane. So you can see right there, I just made a divot in front of the ball in this lane. Now that is easy for me because I'm a toe striker, But if this is the #1 drill that I do, if someone is healing it and they can't stop, I will have them do that drill. Okay, now I'm gonna feel some of that stuff and I'm probably gonna toe it because I'm already a toe striker. Yeah, that was definitely a little bit in the toe. But for me, that's me feeling like my head stays still and I'm just shortening my arms just enough. Let's do another one. Again, I think people respond really, really well to visuals. Like when I paint the Dr. Scholl spray on the ground, it really helps that last bit of letting people cross the line of like, okay, I'm starting to learn this or understand this. Even if I didn't tell someone why they were doing it, I may just have them set up on the line and feel like they're reaching or shortening just to kind of fix their contact. Okay, I'm gonna try to go middle here. In fact, I'm gonna do a practice swing focusing on landing the club right on that line. That was a little bit toe. I'm gonna reach. Yeah, that was totally better. Okay, let's hit one. I'm right on the line. I'm gonna back that up just a touch. And I'm just focusing on my strike. That was probably my best strike of the day. Now, let's say that you're doing this stuff, it's not translating. What I would do is I would put some type of obstruction in the way. I would grab a head cover or I would grab a stick. For example, I frequently, when I'm on the range, I'll take a stick and I'll put it right here, right by the golf ball, just because that gives me another barrier to avoid the type of strike I'm trying to avoid. Same thing if I'm hitting it off the toe, I'm gonna put something right here. I frequently will put a golf ball right here to make sure that someone doesn't hit it in the toe. So whatever it is, whatever your contact issue is, one, you need to understand where it's coming from. It's gonna be one of those things creating or taking away space. And then two, what is your go-to drill? Is it the highway lanes? Is it putting an obstruction? Is it using a stick? Whatever it is, it doesn't really matter, but you need to understand that you should be able to fix it in like 1 or 2 swings. It shouldn't take a whole range session to fix your contact. And second, and the other thing is, make sure you're paying attention to your face contact. I promise you, the reason that you play bad is because you miss-hit your shots, not because you over-curve it. If you're over-curving, it's probably because you're hitting it off center. So fix the contact. I guarantee you start to play better. Hopefully you found this helpful. If you did, subscribe, drop a comment, and best of luck next time you go to the range and work on that face contact.